What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world, all you great decoders. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding our DNA. And ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, out of the 370 something plus videos I have on my channel, this one right here will probably be the very best decode I have ever done to date. This one, ladies and gentlemen, is going to really blow you away. I'm going to show you some synchronizations that are undeniable, that we live in a scripted, predestined reality. I'm going to support that throughout this presentation. At the very onset of this, probably still playing in the background, I had chosen the great band Black Sabbath and their song 1971 off of Paranoid called Iron Man, written by Geezer Butler. There's a reason why I chose that. But it wasn't the reason why I'm about to show you the first slide, and here it is. Bam! This is one that just synced up perfectly. And here's the guy who was the first person to isolate nucleic acid in 1869. Johannes Frederick Meiser. I probably didn't pronounce that right. But notice his birthday. Born on the 13th of August. That can be written 138. That's tied to Lanthanum and the Truman Show, and it means to lie hidden. But of course, his birthday is tied to the King of Clubs, which is the 26th card in the deck. And that goes right to Iron Man. Iron Man. And wait till I show you at the very end of this presentation why Iron Man was chosen for, besides showing you this, why it was chosen for to represent this decode. Other than it's a friggin' amazing song. But there it is. And iron, of course, represents the lights, camera, action. Lights, camera, action equals 56. It's right there. Iron's in our blood. Our blood is tied to DNA. Our blood is tied to DNA and the double helix and deoxyribonucleic acid. And there you have it, just like that. So this guy right here, clear as day, was being used to isolate nucleic acid. Part of his job, part of his responsibility. And it's the king. Hail to the king. Okay, it's going to be your DNA, ladies and gentlemen, and we bring in more layers of alchemy here, and you're gonna see this quite a bit spread out throughout this decode, because Ra, the sun god Ra from ancient Egypt, has so much to do with this. Because you see, 1844, when Johannes was born, 1844 is a leap year, so August 13th becomes the 226th day of the year, and just like that, we have a tie into the Egyptian sun god Ra. And there's the 88. and the 88 forms the DNA. Okay? And it's the sun. The sun is spirit slowed down into physical matter, and it becomes a human being. And now you have a player on the board. Okay? And we have iron in our blood. This is how tightly woven this whole code is, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. Just starting this off at the very beginning. So really, the brunt of this presentation was all about this lady right here, Rosalind Franklin. Because Rosalind Franklin was the first person to ever photograph our DNA through an X-ray diffraction pattern. Here it is. Okay, this whole story, I'm going to leave these in the descriptions below, in the descriptions of the video below. I'll leave this one from the BBC. But here is Rosalind Franklin. You should read her story. And there's a lot of stories about she got ripped off by, Walter and Crikes and, the other guys who were involved in, besides Johans. But you should really study this. But she took the first picture. She got the first picture, and there it was. And it was called Photo 51. Of course, she found it in London. London, the latitude of London is 51 degrees north. Now, did they purposely match up saying that it was her 51st picture of DNA, or did they just put it there because it was discovered in London? You'd have to be the decision maker on that. But let's keep going and show you more layers of this and how it's completely scripted into our reality. Let's bring some alchemy into this, our DNA into alchemy. Alchemy has so much to do with our reality. Words, numbers, our body, etc., elements, etc. I mean, the periodic table is so huge, but here is chromium. Why chromium? Well, because obviously you see the letter X right there. And the X chromosome. We have the X and Y chromosome, but the X chromosome. And so the letter X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. You bring in alchemy to synchronize that, and it's chromium. And what does chromium mean? Comes from the Greek word called chroma, which means color. It's light slowed down into physical matter. And this is the icon the Royal Society of Chemistry uses to represent this element. And what do you see right there? Doesn't it kind of eerily look just like this? It's a round circle. This is a round circle. And this, to me, says that when light comes down here to play the game called life, it has to die a spiritual death. To go down, it goes down into the hole. It becomes DNA. It chases after that pulse of light. And it's tied to this right here, ladies and gentlemen. I have a decode coming out on this. This is where it gets really, really eerie. Really, 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 really eerie. I mean, why is it called Area 51? Why is this photograph 51? And why is it tied to our DNA? What are they doing here? Why is this off limits? When you go and look into this whole thing, this whole story, you get Rosalind Franklin, who took the first photograph, and it was photograph 51. Her name is Rosalind. How about Roswell? You see the beginning of this? Roswell and Rosalind. So the Roswell incident in 1947, New Mexico. Rosalind, Roswell, Area 51, photograph 51, our DNA, aliens, UFOs. You see what's beginning to take place here, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on here? Well, I got a decode coming out on this, so hold on to your seats for that one. But going a little bit further, I want to break down chromium and where it comes from, because it comes from the Greek word called chroma. And so I'm going to do the numerology of that to keep it as close as I can to the original. And there it is. It's a 20. And that's really interesting because you bring the 20 into all this, and we have the word duality. And when you come down here to play the game called life and duality, you have what's called a birthday. All number 20, all tied to chromium. And there's, the weight of chromium, 51. So you have the X right here, the 24th letter, and there's the 24 protons, and then chromium has a weight of 51. And this is photo 51, discovered in London, which has a latitude north of 51. But then we go to this right here. Now we're going to get a different look. So we got chromium, with the weight of 51, but now we're going to get the element that has the 51 protons, and it's antimony. Antimony. If you have, I have an element called stibnite. Those of you that are collectors of gemstones, stibnite. That's what this comes from. But this element right here, clearly for the Royal Society of Chemistry, this is what they use for their icon. It's the all-seeing eye of Horus. It's inside your brain. You cut your brain in half and there it is. Tied to our DNA, tied to our blood. Right there. And what about this antimony? Well, I'm going to go right to the Greeks again because that's where this word originated from. And antimony came from the Greek words anti-monos, right here, and it means not alone. What do you think is the meaning of that, not alone? It means the voice in your head that owns you. Where do you think your little voice comes from? Where's the origination of all these ideas coming into your head? You think you're in control of those? It means not alone. They used to put this under their eyes for a mascara, the all-seeing eye of Horus. Horus is Jesus. We're having the Jesus Christ Superstar experience, but it's a 35. And so now I'm going to bring mathematics into this, as I often do. Numerology from alchemy into mathematics. And I'm going to get into the golden ratio primarily because the golden ratio is light. And since we're light beings, slow down into physical matter, this has a lot of merit to it. And the 35 from anti-monos, from this 51st element found from the photo 51, is tied to the number 56 and 57. So 35 found from anti-monos appears in the string of the golden ratio at space digit 56 and digit 57. That's not including the 1 point, so we'll actually go to 58 as well. But what about that 56? Well, bam! We get to the movie. See, you're on television. You're inside of a movie, folks. You're a little actor running around. Some of you are not even the stars of your movie. How do you make the change? Start turning off the mainstream. That's the first step. But this 56 is pretty big because it's also tied to this right here. And we're talking about the golden ratio. And the golden ratio, even though it's tied to mathematics, is still tied to the sun. It's tied to light, the speed of light, 56. So we have the lights, camera, action, the movie telling you that you're in a movie. And the little voice in your head's tied to your DNA, tied to the little, the implant in your brain, and it's tied to the speed of light. Light slowed down into physical matter. And then if we go up to 57 digit, we get into the Truman Show. So this would be the 57th digit. Now we get into the Truman Show. Just like that, you see? So we're living out the Truman Show. And then it's a stairway to heaven. And what's the stairway to heaven? Climbing Jacob's ladder. Or what is Jacob's ladder? Well, it's the DNA. This is Jacob's ladder right here. It's the DNA climbing that. Huey Lewis and the News did a great song called Climbing Jacob's Ladder. And it really comes down to this, this date right here, because this is when she first put the picture out there, or they did, whoever did, but it's May 6th, otherwise written known as 56, and there it is. So the day that she takes the picture of photo 51, through the string of the golden ratio is tied to the number 35. 35 is tied to anti-monos, coming from the numerology of what this word means, antimony, which is the 51st element. See how it comes all around, full circle. It's all connected. And if you actually think mankind's sitting down, scripting this out before they do all this kind of stuff, just to try to pull one past you, try to pull the woolly over your eyes, trying to smoke you out so you can't see what's going on in this world, I think you better really go take a deeper look. So that was the intro, ladies and gentlemen. I figured I'd make the intro really long to get you captivated. I got a lot of material. This one's going to be a long one. I have no idea how long it's going to be. I improv all these, but that was the intro. Here are the topics for this presentation. Number 1, we're going to talk about King's College. Number 2, double helix. Number 3, base pairs. Number 4, the 4 horsemen. Number 5, Ride or Die. Number 6, Steely Dan. And then the last topic, number 7. I told you we'd be talking about Black Sabbath to finish this up. Iron Man. Iron Man. So let's get into the first topic now, called King's College. And this is where the first photograph was taken. King's College. And as fate would have it, of course, what is May 6th? What day is that linked to on the cards of illumination? If you've been paying attention, there are 52 cards in a deck. Each card represents a day of the year. There are multiple days of the year that these cards are linked to. But of course, what is May 6th? It's the King of Diamonds card. King's College, there's the king. Right? May 6th. So we just go to the boilerplate chart. Here it is. So, we can be really transparent. Here's May. And we come down to the 6th, and there it is. The King of Diamonds. Okay? Just so we can be really transparent. But it's the 39th card in the deck. We're going to come back to that. Remember, if May 6th is the movie, 56, lights, camera, action. King of Diamonds, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, playing out the movie, or at least the light bringer. It's tied to Lucifer. This card right here is tied straight up to Lucifer, straight up. Lucifer being 39 in the Hebrew, called Halel or hell. But here's the connecting point, because these cards, typically they pair with another card. And this is the King of Diamonds card pairing with its counterpart, its spirit card, which is the 3 of clubs, and it's card 16. Card 16. And it looks like this. Here's the chart for the cards of illumination. This is ground zero. These charts change every one to every birthday you have, but here's the master life configuration, and then here is what runs the master life configuration, the master spirit configuration. Hopefully by now all of you have these graphics. If not, send me an email and I'll send them to you. decodeyourreality@gmail.com. But the first thing we want to do is we have the King of Diamonds, the founding date of this card, found at King's College. So here is the King of Diamonds. Here's where it sits. It sits in space number 30. These are all numbered. I'm not going to get into that today, but here it is. And then what we want to do is we want to find the same position over here in the spirit, and there it is, the 3 of clubs. You can do it the other way as well. You can look at the King of Diamonds and the 7 of spades, and we're going to talk about the 7 of spades. But the King of clubs and the King of Diamonds and the 3 of clubs. That's how we find those 2 cards. And as fate would have it, ladies and gentlemen, Rosalind Franklin, who took the photograph of this, here's her freaking birth card. It's the spirit card of the card that was on the founding date of May 6th. She was born on July 25th. Here's the July 25th card. And here's her death day. And we're going to get into that quite a bit. This is the ride or die card. I have a topic on that. As fate would have it, of course. And you get the 35. 35's tied to the simulation. If you recall, going back over here and looking at the 35 here, tied to the anti-monos, right? This is what her birth to death cards are. 35, ladies and gentlemen, tied to the anti-monos. You think her mind was her own? Of course it wasn't. It's right there. This is her birth to death card. Right there, these 2 cards. There's the 35. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are fans of this show right here, many people have asked me to decode this. I've decoded a few slides here and there, not the entire show, but Alice in Borderland. And then there was this caption. There's a game master. 3, and he holds up the 3 of clubs. Well, 3 of clubs is the spirit card for the card that was the founding date at King's College on May 6th. How about that? There it is. There it is. The game master. Tied to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, folks. Tied to Lucifer. Tied to light. Light slowed down into physical matter. So then what we can do is we can get a picture beyond just the pictures of the cards of illumination. We now get into the beautiful tarot. And we have the Tower card representing, and this can also be the 3 of Wands, but we have the Tower card and the Major Arcana, the 16th card in the deck. And then we have the King of Pentacles representing the King of Diamonds, the last card in the deck. And when we take the 78 and 16 and we just do simple math and we add it up, we're going to get the number 94. And just like that, we now have plutonium. Plutonium, this element right here is tied right to Isaiah 14 verses 12. I decoded it. Talking about Lucifer coming down and weakening the nations. That's light. Tied to plutonium, tied to Pluto, tied to Shiva, the destroyer. But what's so fascinating about this is you go right into the flux capacitor and back to the future. Because right there on the flux capacitor, there's plutonium. Remember, plutonium is what was needed to power the DeLorean to make time travel possible, to get to 88 miles an hour, which is raw. But really what people don't pay attention to is this right here, the reset. This is radon, otherwise known as the morning, radon, the son of the morning. That's Lucifer. That's going to cause the reset, which is caused by the sun. And we're going to get into that a little bit. That's going to be tying right into Iron Man, ladies and gentlemen. But the flux capacitor's got the Y right there. I mean, it fits right into the pattern of this right here. What makes time travel possible. And then we get into this element called yttrium. I've shown this so many times. There's that Y matching the flux capacitor. This is element 39. This is the founding date of when she took this photograph on May 6th at King's College. This is the King. It's the 39th card in the deck. This is the 39th element. You see how this comes all around full circle? This has the weight of 88. You had 88 miles an hour to make time travel possible. You see? It's Ride the Lightning. It's Ride the Light. Check out my Ride the Light Decoded. And so when you bring this all together, when you bring these two cards together, since these two cards represent the founding date of this picture, photo 51 in 1952, the King of Diamonds, and then the card that's linked to that, the Spirit card, the Three of Clubs, we have this element right here. We now have sulfur. It's got the letter S on it, representing the sine wave, which represents light. S being the 19th letter, 19 tied to the Sun card in the tarot. So we have sulfur and we have yttrium from the founding date of this photograph taken here at King's College. And then what we want to do is we want to do the alchemy of them. And here it is. Using the trusty calculator, we add up these two weights, and this is what we get. And remember what we showed here. What is this right here, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I mean, go right back to antimony. Here it is. Tied to Rosalind Franklin, tied to her birth to death cards, photo 51, area 51, tied to aliens, folks. Alien is 15 in numerology. It's a mirror of 51. Is that what created us? It's so interesting. But what's really fascinating even further, to summarize all this right here, I like to do this often. You take these two numbers and now you're going to add them up. And there it is, 120 plus 966. You get 1,086. And I knew that right off the bat because see, the speed of light is measured in a vacuum, 186,000 miles per second. We're talking about light slowed down into physical matter. Folks, it's Lucifer, the light bringer, the game master. You see how all this ties together? King of diamonds. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy, Lucifer. You see, ladies and gentlemen? So Lucifer is not what people, or a lot of people have been programmed with. We're starting to make more sense of this now. Okay, we're starting to make more sense of this now. But let's get into the next topic now. Are we having fun yet? Let's get into the next topic called the double helix. Oh boy, this one's going to be fun, folks. I'm going to be dropping gem after gem. Trust me. Should probably get some water moving forward here. But here's the etymology. I like to look at words as far back as I can go of where they originally came from. So double helix, we're going to break this down to 46. Oh, you bet your bottom dollar we will. But here it is through the Greeks. A lot of words came from the Greeks for some reason, or so it says. And it's a 38 for its total. You know, it's interesting. Someone messaged me today and said, hey, did you know LeBron James at age 38 became the highest scorer in the NBA with 38,000 points? King James. The king. You see, folks, there's no escape in this code. It's all predestined. Man never wrote this. We're just along for the ride. But anyway, it's really down to this 23 and 15. So let's break it down. I'm going to show the cards now, as I often do, taking numerology, bringing it into the cards of illumination. And here's what they look like. Double helix through the Greek. So the word double is 23. And there's the 10, the binary system. Of course, the word blood equals 23 in numerology. The word crown equals 23 in numerology. The word history equals 23 in numerology, all in Chaldean. And then we get the helix, Helios, the sun, and we get the 15th card called the Two of Clubs. And when you convert these into the tarot, here's where the beauty comes in. The magical beauty of all this, ladies and gentlemen. The 10 of Clubs becomes the 10 of Wands, and the Two of Clubs becomes the Two of Wands. And it's card number 32 and card number 24. And, you know, if you just use simple math, what's 32 plus 54? 56. And what's 56? Lights, camera, action. It's the movie that we're in, which I showed. 56. And, you know, what's so fascinating about this is the double helix. And we just bring the picture back in. And what do you see right here, ladies and gentlemen? This blew my mind. Look at this. What do you see? You see you have 1V here, 1V here. You got 1V here and 1V here. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm completely serious. That's how serious this is. It's a joke. And then you get the 2 wands representing the helix. The sun comes down. It's spirit or light coming down. It goes into the body of man or woman, and then now it has the world in the palm of its hand, and now it's ready to launch now it's ready to be this is the card of the futurist. Elon Musk has this for his birth card, by the way. Keep going here. Let's do the alchemy of double helix, the etymology, where it originally came from the Greeks. We have these 2 elements here representing double and helix, 23 and 15, vanadium and phosphorus. There's Lucifer again, phosphorus meaning light. Okay, and there's the V. See, there's the V. We go right back up. There's the V right there. There's the V in the picture, the first picture taken of the DNA, the V. There's the V representing the double, 2 V's. And then we do the alchemy of them using the trusty calculator. We get 81.916. And so, what happens when you go 81 digits into the string of the golden ratio? Well, you add it up, you get this number right here, 373. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to show you in real time. What is 373? Bam! It's the 74th prime number. What's 74? Well, you go to the periodic table and you're looking at the big W. Tungsten, light. It's light, slowed down into physical matter. It's the wolf, it's the W, the crown that runs it all. Okay? It's light, it's the sun, folks. Nothing new under the sun. All right, what do you think the sun is tied to? Lucifer, the light bringer. Hello? I don't know where people get the Venus aspect from, really, other than the sun. I mean, I know Venus fits in there because there's the V, but I still think that the sun is the big takeaway here. But let's keep going right here and let's look at straight up the tarot cards from the 23 and the 15 found from the etymology of double helix. We have the Ace of Wands and the Devil. And, here's where Lucifer, light is the devil, folks. If you haven't figured that out yet. This is the pulse of light, and then this is the transverse electromagnetic wave, the male and female, the yin yang chasing it after the devil running this reality, and we're just along for the ride. So I say be the best little devil you can be. And then this right here, card number 23, the Ace of Wands, this is the card of Hollywood. This is the card of abracadabra. This is the Hollywood right here. And this is literally spirit waving its magic wand and saying, let there be light. And there was light. And light is inside your DNA. Inside the double helix. So then we get into the actual English spelling of the double helix. We're going to use Chaldean again, the oldest known numerology cipher on the planet. Hopefully you're using it now in your decoding efforts. But double helix is a 46. Going 46 digits into the string of the golden ratio, since we're talking about the sun and light. Look at what it equals, ladies and gentlemen. 46 digits in, including the 1 point, 226. We go right back to Ra. And remember, the guy who originally discovered it is tied to the 226th day of the year. Who first isolated it? Think this is a coincidence? Think this guy's trying to screw you over? Trying to get one past you? Right? Trying to dupe you. I mean, who named it this? I mean, do you think people are really sitting down and coding this out before they deliver it out into the world stage? I mean, I just showed it to you in English, and we have it here in the Greeks, converting, and it's the same story, folks. And seemingly it goes back to back and goes right back to the ancient Egyptian sun god called Ra. The law, if you're a fan of law one material, 51% service to others, 51% photograph, 51. See what I'm saying? The picture. Continue to go. All right, here's where the fun starts. This is where we're going to have some fun. So I decided to bring in the medicine cards, the 52 cards of the Native American medicine cards. Hopefully you have this deck. Hopefully you've done your totem pole. They use animals, insects, reptiles, etc., rather than symbols and letters from the cards of illumination or the tarot. So what's the 46th card in the deck? It's the raccoon. It's the this is where the joke is, folks. The raccoon. The raccoon. I mean, are you kidding me? Double helix found from the golden ratio, 226, Ra. And then the 46 found from the numerology of double helix, it's the raccoon. Come on. These are Native Americans that created this card deck, paying tribute to the animals, insects, and reptiles on our planet. Not trying to screw you over or get one past you or make fun of you. This is the source code using people, folks. This is clear here. I think this is completely pure comedy, if you ask me. Like jaw on the floor when I found it. I was laughing, but wait, there's more. Here's some more of it. How about this? The word raccoon is 28, which matches the word kundalini. And I've underlined these words. Raccoon, kundalini, coon. Kundalini rising tied to our DNA. Light rising, spirit rising. And even the raccoon has the 8 over its eye. Or 8 over its eyes. Come on. The raccoon. This is the source code having fun with us, folks. Kundalini raccoon. You can't make this stuff up, folks, as the great Nigel used to say. Much love to you, Nige, wherever you're at. Hopefully you're watching and laughing at this. All right, here's the 46th card in the deck, the tarot, straight up, double helix. What does it mean? It means to have a human being experience. It's the 10 of hearts, the 10 of cups. Happy home. It's happy home. When it's during the golden age, obviously everybody gets to feel and experience that. But not everybody gets to feel and experience that during the dark age. You got to make lemonade out of it, ladies and gentlemen. And then here's where you're going to get the 7 of spades, and now you're going to get into some deception, which obviously the DNA can be a deceiver. Because it's always about angels and demons, the yin yang, the push-pull, good cop, bad cop, antagonist, protagonist. And because this is 46, we tie it to the 7 of spades, and I just want to digress and show you. Here's the chart again. And when we locate the King of Diamonds here in the spirit side, okay, we found it over here on the ego side, the life side, but when we find it in, remember, King's College, and when it was first discovered, May 6th, this is the May 6th card, we come right over here and find it, there's the 7 of spades, you see? So really it's the 7 of spades, the King of Diamonds, and the 3 of clubs. And you can break those down a lot of different ways, besides what I'm showing you. But this 7 of spades is going to convert it to the 57th card in the deck. Remember what the 57 is tied to? The Truman Show. It's tied to anti-monos. Tied to photo 51. Okay? The 7 of swords. All right? This can mean mental strategy. It's not all negative with this card. Typically, it has negative connotations to it. But if you just look at the 7 of spades, you know, the spade means man or woman. It means the completion of man or woman. That's what it means, the 7. 7 is tied to Ra, because the 7th house of astrology is Lib Ra. Lib Ra, 7th house. 7th card. Fits in the house of Lib Ra, which is the scales of justice. Okay? The double helix, the scales of justice. Just keep going on and on. But here's where it gets really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, if it hasn't gotten already interesting so far. So double helix is 46, and we bring alchemy into this, and we get tied to this element called palladium. Palladium. Palladium comes from Pallas, which we're going to get into in a little bit, but look at this. 106 is the average weight of palladium. Its most abundant is 105. That's great architect of the universe. But 106 is the average. And here are the 2 base pairs that make up our DNA. How about that? Just like that. These are the 2 base pairs that make up our DNA. 106. And there's the bridge, palladium. And what's palladium? Tied to Pallas. What is Pallas? Pallas is tied to Athena. And what is Athena tied to? The goddess of wisdom. Please go study Athena in the Greek mythology. It's Zeus's favorite. Zeus is tied to the lightning bolt. The lightning bolt is tied to light. And it's tied to our wisdom. You should know where your palace is located at in your astrological chart. That is for sure. Here's the original spelling of Athena. There's that 24. Remember what that 24 is tied to the letter X. What's the letter X tied to? Tied to the photo of the DNA, folks. Directly tied into our base pairs. Okay, right there. So let's keep going with this right here. So again, here are the two cards. The founding card for the 1952 picture, and then the card that's linked to it through the spirit side, showed in that, and the 7 of spades. This is the 46 card in the deck. Okay? So these are the two cards right here, connected in this way, besides the 3 of clubs. So we have these two elements in the periodic table. The 39th card, we have the 39th element, yttrium. 46th card, we have the 46th element called palladium. And then when we add these up, we get 195.326. Remember, this is tied to the founding picture for DNA. And what about that 195? Well, it's tied to this element right here called platinum. See, we're in a platinum golden jubilee year right now. Tied to the Shemitah this year. If you're watching this now in 2023, I mean, are we going to get a DNA upgrade? Is that what's coming down the pike for some of us? Are we getting it now? But platinum means little silver. Comes from the word platina, meaning little silver. All the way back to the Mayans are connected to this. 78 cards total in the tarot deck. So many big ways, but wait till I show you how this is tied in straight up into the source code. So as I often do, I'm going to take the total, 195, from these two cards and these two elements on the periodic table found from the founding date, King's College, the King of Diamonds, and the 7 of Spades. So we have platinum, we have 195 digits. I'm going to go 195 digits into the string of the golden ratio and look at what number we get. We get the yin yang. Of course, as fate would have it. What is our DNA? The yin yang. The 906. And then if we say deoxyribonucleic acid, it's the mirror of the yin yang. The 96, it's the 69. It's the 69, folks. All found from that 195, from these two elements, from the founding date, from the cards to the elements on the periodic table. How about that? Just like that. That's how tightly woven this source code is, folks. Okay? And again, a big shout out to Ra. It has to come back to somehow, some way to radium. Because again, now we go 46. Double helix 46. We go 46 digits into the string of the golden ratio. It adds up to the number 226. There's that Ra. That radium means radius. Radius is going to give you the number 16, which is going to be tied to Sirius. Is Ra just Sirius? Are you serious? Yeah, it's seriously possible. All right, and it's all tied to our DNA. Our DNA. And what about if we add them up? So we get 46 digits found from the palladium and Pallas, found from double helix being 46, and then we get the 226 total addition of the 46 digits of the golden ratio tied to the sun, Ra tied to the sun. So we add up 88 and 46, look what we get. We get a permutation of pi, 134, which is going to be tied to barium. Barium's tied is the 56th element. Lights, camera, action. They just keep going with all this stuff, folks. And then to finish this part of the presentation up, how about this? I look at everything I possibly can. What's the 46th day of the year? This one right here. And guess who has a birthday on February 15th? How about the creator of The Simpsons? Matthew Groening. So where do you think he's getting his information from? Why are the Simpsons yellow? Why is their skin color yellow? Golden ratio. Ra, the sun. Okay. 10 of diamonds is the February 15th card, which is the 36th card in the deck. And this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, this really, I found this I added this last minute, but ladies and gentlemen, this one, I'm going to get serious on you right now. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. I'm going to get serious with you right now. Okay? We're going to bring in some theology now. So, these are the two base pairs for our DNA. All right? Straight up. Thymine, adenine, cytosine, and guanine. These are the two base pairs to form the double helix. And they equal 106. Now, I've already shown the 46 and palladium, but the element on the periodic table that has the 106, it's this element called seaborgium. And here's the guy who founded it, Glenn Seaborg. Glenn Theodore Seaborg. He was born on April 19th. 19th tied to the sun. 19th card in the tarot is the sun. But here's his birth card right here. The 2 of diamonds, the 28th card in the deck. Lucifer equals 28. Kundalini equals 28. 2 base pairs. What do we have right here? I mean, come on, folks. Okay, the guy, he not only discovered this, but he discovered a few other major elements on the periodic table. 2 base pairs. I mean, seriously? And then the big takeaway, where I want to get serious, not joking around, is this. And now I'm going to bring theology into it, and I'm going to bring in this. This is Revelation, the last book, the 66th book. Revelation 21 verses 1. And this is what it says. I've been looking for this, and now I'm almost positive this is the confirmation I was looking for. Right there. And there was no more C. There was no more DNA. You see? Maybe some of you have chills right now. But, I mean, how much more evidence do we need to perhaps show you the connection? 21 is tied to transhumanism because 21st element is scandium, and scandium's weight is 44, and transhumanism is 44. So is this right here? We live in the sea of space. This tied to our double helix. Obviously, the 2 base pairs. There's a lot of merit to this, folks. I say the most popular spell book on the world stage, the Holy Bible, is a book about transhumanism. That's my final answer. And this was kind of just a really big anchor for all of it that I've been saying for a while. When I found this, I was really blown away. Does this mean that the physical body that we have is going to be obsolete at some point? See, we don't run this reality, folks. People think we run it, but we don't. It's the as above that runs it. It's the as above that runs it. So chew on that for a little bit. Let's get into the base pairs now. And let's really kind of get into some science now. So here is kind of a great graphic of the base pairs: thymine or thymine, adenine, cytosine, and guanine. 2 base pairs, TACG. Okay, you can even break that down, these letters, if you wanted to. But here's where the beauty and value of alchemology comes into play. Now, this is something that I discovered. I don't know if anybody else has ever discovered it, but this is what I coined it, alchemology. And what is alchemology? It's taking numerology and then bringing it into alchemy. So it's very easy, ladies and gentlemen. You take numerology, the science of numbers, where you get a number for each letter, and then you take that and you match it up with an element on the periodic table. So the letter T is 4, and that's going to be tied to the 4th element called beryllium. The letter H is 5, and that's going to be tied to the element boron, the 5th element, and so on and so forth. Now, what I'm using right here are the average atomic weights of these elements. I'm going to show you the most abundant here in a little bit. I'm going to show you both. But here's what it looks like, okay, when I put the letters over the alchemical elements. And then what we want to do is we want to add all this stuff up. And I've done this so many times throughout the years of doing this, of alchemology, showing you the accuracy in so many decodes. And here it is. Here's the outcome for the 2 base pairs of our D and A. We get a and I couldn't fit it all here, so I checked this 3 times. So you go ahead. I would encourage you to pause it and add all these up, and this is what you're going to get. 220.666. The big takeaway, obviously, is the 666, but if you know what you're looking at, what is this? This is radon, Lucifer. Okay? That's why I say be the best little devil you can be. You got to have fun with this reality. You can't take it so serious. So there's the 220.666 for the average weight of these elements and the two base pairs. And then here's the most abundant. I like doing the most abundant because it's the most dominant energy. So we have boron, which changes from the 10.81 to 11.009. We have carbon, which changed a little bit, and we have the lithium that changed a little bit. That's it. But here's the outcome. When you add up the most abundant weight for the alchemology of these two base pairs, 223.271, and this is what I'm going to run with here. So we already have radon here to 220.666, the number of the beast, which is man. But we also have the 223.271, and the most interesting part about this, ladies and gentlemen, is that these two numbers are both prime numbers. Just like that. That's how beautifully orchestrated this source code is. 223 is the 48th prime, 271 is the 58th prime. Found from adding up all those from the Alchemology. Two base pairs. So let's discover a little bit more about this 48 and 58, shall we? So the 223 is the big takeaway on the masculine side of the decimal. So the 223 digits, we're going to bring those into the string of the golden ratio because we're talking about light slowed down into physical matter. And 223 digits, including the 1 point, we get a total of 1,039. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, what is that 1039? Well, it's also a prime number, 175th prime number. And you know what it connects to? Lucifer. Because it's going to connect to the 71st element right here called lutetium. Now, even though this is 174 and this is 175, in science, this is going to round up. This is going to be called isotope 175. And there's Lucy in the sky with diamonds. 71. 71 is the 20th prime number. 20 is tied to duality. Remember, chroma in the Greek is 20. Light, our DNA, folks. Okay? This is undeniable stuff here. Mathematics, alchemy, primes, golden ratio. And now we get into the tarot. To get a picture of what this looks like, as I often do. So 223 is the 48th prime. Here's the 48th card in the tarot. It's the Knight of Cups. This card is looking for love. That's what it means, straight up. And then 271 is the 58th prime number, and here's the 58th card. I know this well because this is my birth card. This is why I'm showing you this stuff, folks. Check out my Prison Planet series. Some of my most watched material. This is all of us. This is the DNA. This is what it means, all of us. See, you come down here. Now, this is where the fallen angel story comes into play. Because you're looking for love. The Jack, the Knight. Jack, and then Jack gets stuck in the box. And now you get stuck into an avatar. But you got to take into consideration, why the hell are you here, folks? Why are you here? And you would say, well, my parents humped. Okay, great. But I mean, how far back are we going to go? Where's the origins to all this? How do you get all these ethnic backgrounds from two people? It's not possible in the story of theology. But anyway, it's looking for, so it's about chasing ass down here. Looking for love. The Knight of Cups. And then once you come down and you become an avatar, now you're trapped and limited. And now you get into the puppet master with the 58. And that's what the weight is of the two base pairs through the Alchemology, folks, to get the picture. How beautiful is this? And I had shown this through my Two Thieves Decoded. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. When you say the Knight of Cups and the Eight of Swords, which is obviously a big deal, you get the 113. Well, what's 113? It's the 30th prime number. 30 is tied to demiurge. The word demiurge equals 30. The word Jehovah equals 30. It's all tied to this. What do you think? It's the demiurge coming down here to play the game of life. That's what this is saying. And I showed this with my two thieves, as I said. Right? Because here's, right here, making the cross. All right, the cross on your head, the box, the cube that we live in, the Knight of Cups was one of the 6 cards in the cross. There it is, the Jack of Hearts. And, you know, the Knight of Cups is the Jack of Hearts. The card number 11, and then the 8 of Spades is card number 47. 47 and 11. What does that equal? 58. 58 is Puppet Master. Okay, what do you think's running this reality? The Puppet Master. What is the Puppet Master? Well, it goes by a million different names. What do you want to call it? check out my Two Thieves Decoded. It's one of my favorite decodes. It's kind of like the hidden gem, the Two Thieves Decoded. So now let's get into kind of the DNA through the Fibonacci sequence by way of alchemology. Let's check out the Fibonacci. We're going to get into some more mathematics now because we're tied into mathematics. Numbers, the golden ratio, the golden spiral, the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, and so again, I'm going to show this. Here is the most abundant expression of the two base pairs through alchemology, numerology tied into alchemy, 223.271. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to go into the Fibonacci with it. So what's the 223rd Fibonacci add up to? It's 47 digits tied to the tetragrammaton, tied to titanium, tied to silver. And then here's the 271st Fibonacci number. It's 57 digits tied to the Truman Show. Okay, so and when we add them up, we get 206 and 251. And this is what we get right here. 457 from the Fibonacci numbers now, from the primes, from the alchemology of the DNA. 457. And what is 457? Bam! Right back to Ra. It's the 88th prime. It's the 88th prime number. The word's perfect number in the prime cipher is 457. Okay? 88. And what is the 8? It's the 8's right there. It's our double helix, the Jacob's ladder, climbing Jacob's ladder. Tied to Ra, the sun god. Light slowed down to physical matter. All right from the Fibonacci sequence now. From the primes, from the alchemology, from numerology. See how all this just ties? How beautiful is this? And you know, some of you caught this. What is the 223? It's the mirror of the 322. Okay, it's tied to Francium, the 87th element, in between the 88 and 86. And then I decided to look at the 48th Fibonacci. So we did the 223rd and the 271st Fibonacci. Let's do the 48th and 58th Fibonacci numbers. And here they are, right here. So one adds up to 54, one adds up to 52, and we go right back. Just see how beautifully mathematically precise this source code is? 106. And then we get right back to the two base pairs in numerology. Right back, round robin, just goes right back to it. This is just so beautiful, this whole source code. It's 106, right there. Can't miss it. So I decided to do something a little bit different. I haven't done this before, but man, when I did it, I was blown away. So I took the two base pairs and I decided, how many letters are there? Well, thymine and adenine is 14 and cytosine and guanine is 15. If I mispronounce these, don't sue me, all right? Geez, some people are going to be like the freaking vocabulary police. You pronounced it wrong. Okay, anyway, 14 letters and 15 letters. So I'm going to look into the golden ratio. And here's the 14th and 15th digits that represent the golden ratio. It's the number 8 and the number 9. And the number 8 and the number 9, when you bring them together, is the 89, and 89 is the 24th prime number. There's the X, because the X is the 24th letter. You see how beautiful this is, folks? Tied to our DNA. The first photograph ever our DNA, it's got the X right on it. It's tied to the 89 and the 14th and 15th digit from the two base pairs in the string of the golden ratio, the 89. Just another layer. Separately, I've never shown that before, but there it was. And then we go a little bit further and we do the total. 14 and 15 is 29. So what do we get when we get 29 digits into the string of the golden ratio? We get 151. What's 151? Well, it's the 36 prime number. And then we go to this right here, because the DNA is the operating system. The operating system. 36, of course, Jesus Christ equals 36. You're having the Jesus Christ superstar experience is going to be tied to the element on the periodic table called krypton, kryptos, 36. It's also be tied to the number 17, chlorine. And 17 is going to be the 7th prime number tied to your chakras. Okay, DNA, light. So how about the DNA through the Fibonacci extended cipher? What is the Fibonacci extended cipher? Well, it's taking the Fibonacci numbers, all 26, and reducing them down to single digits. Because you're going to get into double digits when you get to the higher ones, which kind of really gets it messy a little bit. So I decided to make a cipher with all the numbers and all the letters all the way from A to Z, make them into single digits. Fibonacci, the Fibonacci sequence. And then I'm going to do numerology with it. So here's the first one. I'm going to spell out deoxyribonucleic acid, and we get the number 89. So what is the number 89? Right back here. Right here. Tied to the 24, tied to the X, tied to the X chromosomes, tied to the 14 and 15 of the two base pairs. How you spell them out? It's just so beautiful, folks. From the Fibonacci extended cipher, the 89. And then if we spell out the actual two base pairs, we get that 151 right back here. The 29 digits into the golden ratio. 151, 36 prime operating system. See how beautiful this is? This is the source code right here, ladies and gentlemen. Mankind never coded this ever in a million years. Sorry. 151. And then we have 29. The last one I want to show you, thymine, adenine, cytosine, and guanine, 29 letters. It's tied to the word love. So our DNA represents love. And 29 this is a big deal now. I'm getting really big into copper. Do any of you have copper bracelets? Those magnetic copper bracelets. I'm really getting into copper. Copper comes from the Latin word cuprum. Copper's 33 in Chaldean. But this was the big takeaway. Here's the icon for the Royal Society of Chemistry for copper. What do you see right here? It's the freaking DNA right there. As above, so below. The DNA right there. It just doesn't have the top covered, but it's right there. There's the DNA. 29. And the 29, not just is it love, but it's the freaking two base pairs. How many letters they have? 29 total letters. And there it is. So beautiful, folks. It's so freaking beautiful. I can only imagine, like, I have a copper vessel in my refrigerator. I put water in it and I drink my protein shakes out of it. But I'm just wondering, like, wearing copper bracelets or wearing copper necklaces, what that would do to your DNA. I'm going to start experimenting that. I don't know, maybe some of you have already experimented that. And then one last one here with the DNA. I decided to make one with the golden ratio cipher. I've been doing this for over a year now. Taking 1.618 using the 26 letters of the alphabet, tying it to the first 26 letters of the golden ratio, including the 1 point. And this is what the cipher looks like. And then we're going to do the same thing, the two base pairs. It's going to get it through the golden ratio tied to the sun, right? And it's the 145. What's the 145 to in alchemy? Promethium. Promethium is 61, and there's the 61. Right after the 1 point, 61 tied to Prometheus, which was the Titan who stole fire, gave it to the humans. It was the Titan who created mankind from clay. Right there. Think about that. It's the Titan who created mankind from clay, created our two base pairs of DNA from the golden ratio cipher. Right there. And you can't miss it. And then when you say golden spiral, it's 61. So I know there's an awful lot of merit with this cipher. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Haven't really shown a lot of it, but it's an amazing cipher. And you can clearly see how beautiful this is. I mean, spiral's 29. 29's tied to copper. You see? Copper. And there's the spiral right there. Pretty easy to see this with the icons and the symbols. This is how beautiful this is. So that was that interesting part there. So now let's get into the next topic, ladies and gentlemen, called the four horsemen. I told you this would be a long one. I hope you've made it this far. This is a gem of a decode, I think. But let's get into the four horsemen now. So we're going to go right back to that picture, the image of the DNA taken in 1952. And we're going to tie it to that letter X, of course. But I want to bring it into one of my favorite topics, which is astrology. And I'm going to do that first and foremost through bringing this into mathematics and showing you how beautifully orchestrated this is with mathematics and astrology. So the number 89, as I have already shown, is the 24th prime number. It's the 11th Fibonacci number. But how do we tie this into astrology and our DNA? Well, we bring it into the four fixed signs of astrology. The ox, lion, eagle, man, the four horsemen, which are the four main gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. And what do you see right here? I've highlighted. It's right here. Can't miss it. Okay, they're fixed now. They're not mutable or cardinal. They're fixed. And then we get into this. And this was the anchor. This is all I needed to see. I knew. Because the 4 fixed signs, when you say them, it's 89. 89, go back to mathematics, and 89 is the 24th prime number. The X is 24. There's the X, and there's the X. You see, folks? Undeniable with astrology and alchemy and mathematics. And now our DNA. We have the X chromosome here with the 24. And how about, where's the 24 located in the string of the golden ratio? Because we know the 24 is big because there's the X, right? X chromosomes. Well, here is where the 24 appears in the string of the golden ratio, right here. It's 80 total digits. Look at what it equals. What are the keys to the universe? Well, they're right there. Now the secret's out. And it never was a secret, right? But now you have the eyes to see it. It's going to take 80 total digits, including the 1 point, through the golden ratio. The golden ratio, light slowed down into physical matter tied to our DNA. There's the 24, representing digits 79 and 80. It's gold and life, because 80 represents the tree of life, but it also represents Mercury. Mercury's average is 200. The fallen angel story is about the 200. The most abundant of Mercury is 201. So those of you that have been looking at basic fundamentals of decoding and, oh, this word equals 201 and that word equals 201, and you that's all you've been doing, well, now you know. Now you have the eyes to see. It's all about alchemy, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mercury. Why does the Pope Francis, why does he live in suite 201, apartment 201? Because he's tied to Mercury, the messenger. That's what Mercury's all about. And Mercury's all about the Kundalini. And obviously it's about our DNA. And I can tell you right now with confirmation, now I know that the book of the Bibles, the book of the Bible, the books of the Bible is about transhumanism. It's about transhumanism. Okay? That's what it's about. Moving man into machine. All right, preparing man into machine. And then going into the golden ratio, where does this number 24 appear? Okay, well, we showed that right here. Here it is. We included the 1 point, but now when you use this website, it doesn't include the 1 point, so it's going to set it back to the 78th and 79th digit. So there's going to be a triplicate here. It's going to be 78, 79, and 80. It would be 3 numbers here, but 78 and 79, if we do not include the 1 point, and we add the 78 and 79 up, we're going to get this element right here, and just like that, now we have God. This is gadolinium. 78 and 79 is 157. Gadolinium's average weight is 157. The protons for gadolinium is 64. There are 64 possible patterns for a codon in our DNA. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, you're on television. Because this is the element with the icon with the television screen. 24 hours, 12 and 12, 64 possible codons in the DNA, 64 squares on a chessboard. I could go on and 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 on, showing it with this methodology right there. And then the last slide for this topic right here, Rosalind Franklin, again, where she was born. I looked up the address. I did the complete address, spelling it out, and look what it equals. This lady took the first photograph of our DNA, and it matches the freaking television screen. I mean, are you kidding me? Which matches the golden ratio. Folks, you see what I'm saying, man? You think she had control over her mind? Do you think anybody has control over their mind? I know, not you though. You have full control over your mind. Everybody else doesn't, but you don't. That's my dry humor. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the next topic. Ride or die. Ride or die. So we're going to go right back to the first picture, May 6, 1952. And I decided to look at the numerology of this. What's the life path of May 6, 1952? What is the life path? You add up the entire birthday. So here it is. Okay, the entire birthday added up, 6 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 2 is 28. We get that 28 again, and just like that, bam! Kundalini, which is tied to the DNA. Kundalini's 28. Architect is 28. Lucifer is 28. And it was found at King's College. It was the king of diamonds. The diamonds is Lucy, Lucifer. Folks, I mean, how much more clear do we need to be here? Okay, with all these kinds of things. Another layer, the life path, the soul contract. And then how about this one right here? Rosalind and Raymond. See, I didn't include this guy. I could have included many other, but this guy was the assistant to Rosalind to take the photograph. And look at what they come out to with their full name numerology. The 144, which is tied to the crown chakra petal. Okay, so this is the Kundalini rising. These two people were responsible for the first photograph of our DNA, which represents the two serpents, which represents Mercury, the Ida and the Pingala, the 28, the Kundalini, et cetera, okay? You can start to see how all this stuff starts to make sense. And then going back to May 6th being the 127th day of the year, because May 6th, 1952 was a leap year. You get the iodine there, but it's the 31st prime number, the 127 is, because it was a leap year. And then we get into the ride or die, which is 31. So what is the ride or die? Ride the lightning? It's your DNA. You can also bring it into your twin flame, soulmate connections, et cetera, but the original ride or die is you. You having human being experience, the 31, and then it's this card right here, the 5 of diamonds, card 31. So May 6th being the 127th day of the year in leap year, because 52 was a leap year. 127 is the 31st prime. Here's the 31st card. It's the 5 of diamonds. And when you say the 5 of diamonds, you get the 64. 64 is going to go right back to this Gadolinium. Remember, her full address was 157. I mean, are you kidding me? You see how this is all connected? It tells you that you're on television. 5 is the busiest number. Those of you that are 5 of diamonds, I mean, you're the busybodies, right? If you have a 5 life path, a 5 birthday, you need a lot of space. You're the adventurer. You're the person that'll raise your hand and volunteer. Say, I'll go try that. That's the 5. 5 is the letter S. S is the 19th letter tied to the sun. It's the sun slowed down to physical matter. What's the 5th house of astrology? Leo, the lion, ruled by the sun. In Chinese, it's the dragon wave, the sine and cosine wave, the double helix inside your body. And so it kind of comes down to this right here. This picture of our DNA and the hourglass that we live in. Like the sands of hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Remember that soap opera? But it's this 5 of diamond. Why the hourglass there? Because you can see the X and you can see the X. And then all you got to do is cut out the diamonds and there it is. You see that, folks? You see? The ride or die tied to the diamonds. And it's going to be this pulse. This is the pulse of light. And then you have your base pairs and the transverse electromagnetic wave chasing the pulse of light to come down here to play the game. And it's the 5. I mean, if you go look at the Georgia Guidestones, this is what it looked like from the air. You had the 4 main pillars and then the one in the middle. Got destroyed, right, by Ra. That's what it got destroyed by, according to my research. Ra destroyed it, not man. But there's that 5 of diamonds right there. Even the word future is 31. So what's the ride or die? The future. That's what creates the future, the 5. Okay? And then when we convert it into the tarot to get the picture, there is the 5 of Pentacles. And this card means hard times. Yeah, that's what life's all about. It can be beautiful, make lemonade out of it, but it can be tough. Eventually you face death, and death is not fun. You know, so the suffering that you have to go through, and deoxyribonucleic acid is 69. This is the 69th card in the deck. So this is the ride or die. This is the ride or die in the tarot. Right from our DNA, folks. It fits right over, the diamonds fit right over that X. It's perfect. So perfect. That's how beautiful these cards are in the tarot, et cetera, et cetera. So now let's get into the second to last topic. And we're going to get into Steely Dan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I was absolutely just mesmerized, because what I had done is I was working on this presentation for days. And then just the other day, I decided to take a break and go to the store. And when I went to the store, I went to get all my stuff to go to juice, because I have a juicer. So I bought all these beets and apples and stuff like that. And then I came home and I started to juice. And I have one of these on my desk, an Alexa. And so I decided to play some music, as I often do, as I'm sitting there doing things. And so I'm like, what do I want to play? What do I want to play? And what came into my mind? Steely Dan. Steely Dan came into my mind. And so I said, hey, Alexa, I don't want to say it too loud, so come on, play some Steely Dan. And this is the song, I kid you not, this is the song that it played. And look at the number that it came up to. 30 freaking 1. Now, some people say, well, that's artificial intelligence. Yeah, but how about my mind? The voice in my head picked Steely Dan. And then I just asked to play this song, to play this band, play some Steely Dan. This is the song it chose. 31. And this is the 31st card. And this card's tied to our DNA. This is the presentation I was working on. So this is me being used, folks. And I'm just having fun with it. What am I going to do? Get mad? Get angry? This is how dialed in I am. I am personally to the code. Maybe you are as well. And then this is the album that it came off of right here to the left. Pretzel Logic. Look at what it equals. 51. This is photograph 51. Found at King's College, which is London, 51 degrees north latitude. I mean, seriously? How much more information do I need to show you that mankind's being used? I'm being used. February 20th. Do you know what card that is? This album came out on February 20th. There's February. You probably already know. February 20th. The 5 of diamonds. That's right. Card number 31. Right there. That's what started me off, and then going right back. This is what I was working on. 127th day of the year is when she took this picture. It's the 31st prime. It's the ride or die card. And this is what Alexa played for me. After it came in my mind, like, what do I want to play? Play Steely Dan. And it's Steely Dan. What's DNA? Dan. This is what it picked for me. My voice now picked this for me. I wasn't thinking of anything other than what kind of music do I want to play? I'm not trying to pull one past you folks. I don't really listen. I mean, there's a few songs, Reeling in the Years, etc., but I don't really listen to this band. And they chose this song arbitrarily? Come on. But that kind of led me into the last and final topic for this presentation, which was really the icing on the cake and why I had played this song in the beginning. And I may play it at the end, I don't know yet, but it's Iron Man. And why this song? Because if you go research this song, came off this album Paranoid, came out in 1971. 71 is Lutetium, Lucifer, which I already showed. And you go and read it's about Geezer Butler, the bassist. He wrote this song. And it's about a guy who travels into the future and sees the apocalypse and then returns to the present moment to warn the human race. And when he does that, he's turned into steel by a magnetic field. Look at the B side of this. Electric Funeral. Iron Man. Remember the guy who first discovered iron? First isolated the nucleic acid. He's got the 26 card in the deck as his birth card. Iron. Folks, what is this telling us? I know what it's telling us. Electric Funeral. Okay, if you can put 2 and 2 together, you can make heads or tails of this. But here's Geezer Butler to finish this up. Just to show you, now is Geezer screwing you over? Is he trying to pull one over on you? Here's his birth card. Born on July 17th. 24th card in the deck. Bam! Last one of the night. There's that photograph. It's tied to our chromosomes, folks. And I'm just going to leave it at this right here. This is my last slide. So this song, okay, Electric Funeral, Iron Man, Transhumanism, okay, the Jack of Clubs, 24th card in the deck, tied to our DNA, and the C was no more. Well, the C's tied to this element right here, which is tied to our 2 base pairs of our DNA. So does this mean that we're moving into transhumanism? And that's what I say the book of the Bible is all about. The whole thing, from start to finish, it's leading you into transhumanism. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you use your imagination, but these are big nuggets that I feel are very important to take into consideration. And I would really love to have your feedback. Please keep your comments coming. This was a rather long one, so if you made it all the way through to this, congratulations. Thank you for sticking with me. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be your tour guide here during this presentation. This one was a lot of fun. This one took me many, many days and long nights. I have a lot of hours in this one. I couldn't stop. The voice in my head wouldn't let me stop. But nonetheless, would love to hear what you saw, so keep your comments coming. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, I promise we will see you later.